And good morning. I'm Pastor Jacobson here with a special addition to our morning devotion session. We are going to be talking all about Advent, and to help us talk a little bit about this, about the traditions, the family culture, the things that go into this, is my gorgeous wife, Sarah, with me here today. She's going to be helping talk a little bit more about the season. Now, we did a morning devotion a couple years ago talking about the Advent season, and this is kind of a little bit of an update to all of that. As our kids have grown older, as we have added different traditions into our Advent season, this is a time for us to kind of update you all and also kind of teach a few new things that maybe we brought along. But maybe you don't have young kids in the house. Maybe you're single. Maybe you're in college. Maybe you're just not that into the Christmas Advent season. There's still hopefully going to be things for you to take away, for you to try out during this time. So join us, grab your favorite beverage, sit back, relax, maybe take some notes. We're going to walk you through this Advent season, and we're going to talk to you about some of the traditions, the things, the people, the places, and things that you can do either on your own or as a family or in your community to help with this Advent season. So let's just talk a little bit about Advent. By the way, Sarah and I have shot this scene at least three times now. I think, yeah, at least this is our third time. We tried to get this up and running last week, but for whatever reason, the internet was not cooperating with us. So let's just talk about Advent as well. Sarah's heard this multiple times. She's probably ready to answer right away. But Advent comes from the Latin adventus or adveniat. It means coming, right? And we're talking about the coming of Christ. So this season is all about preparing ourselves. And as I mentioned in our sermon this Sunday, we can't return to 0 AD back to Bethlehem and prepare for Jesus' first coming. So there's a big sense that we're preparing for Jesus' second coming. Okay, so there's all of that, but then again, there's also getting ready for Christmas. So a lot of our traditions are tied into that. Historically, Advent it kind of came a lot earlier. It was a longer season. Historically, Advent was as long as Lent. It was all 6 weeks thereof. It started right around November 11th, which is Martin Luther's birthday. And this is why he's named Martin, because he was born on Martin of Tours Day. So, anyways, this goes into Martin Luther's life and all those things. Now, when it comes to Advent and the traditions that we have in our family, hopefully there's some ideas that you can pick up. But to tell you more about those traditions, it's a good thing for me to bring my wife along with us because she's the chief decorator in charge, the one who puts everything together. The one thing I can speak of historically in traditions, this used to be a fasting season. I know it's not that way anymore. We'll talk about that when we get into the wreath, which we'll bring out here in just a second. But this used to be a really big deal. It used to be a long fasting season. And then once you got to December 25th, that's when your 12 days of Christmas started. And everybody broke out all the food they could find because they had been fasting for about 6 weeks, give or take a little bit. So that's kind of the tradition. That's a little bit of the history that's going on behind this. Now, how can we bring that Advent tradition, that getting ready for Christmas and Christ's second coming together? That's what we're going to talk about today. So, Sarah, let's talk about probably the most iconic piece of Advent
The Advent
furniture, right? The
furniture.
Advent
Piece.
wreath.
Accessory, dare I say.
So, this is ours, and I'll let Sarah talk a little bit about that.
All right, so this is a bronze Advent wreath, and it's the brand Terra Sancta, and you can find them. Actually, we found ours on eBay a few years ago, and you can find them on Catholic Supply, and it's a real durable heirloom quality Advent wreath. And well, we have all the candles here in preparation for this going on our dinner table. And we got these candles from Hobby Lobby. And I'll let you then describe each color and its historical meaning and all that good stuff.
So you can see here we have purple or violet candles. A lot of times in our churches we use blue now to represent the Advent season. Historically it was violet. It was a season of fasting and repentance. The idea though, and you can see Sarah's holding the shortest candle here that's almost trying to disappear on us. As you go through the season, what's happening is outside it's getting darker and darker and darker as we go towards the winter solstice, but at the same time you're adding more lights. Traditionally we have this on our dining room table, so we light this for dinner or what y'all call supper up here. This is our time to add that. Now the pink candle, everybody wants to talk about the pink or rose colored candle. Why is this one so important? um, because it coincides with a reading based on the Psalm of the day for the third Sunday in Advent. And this it begins with Gaudete, rejoice all of y'all. And the idea behind rejoicing for that Sunday was this was the Sunday in the church here where you kind of broke that fast a little bit. They would allow marriage, they would allow little things to kind of go back to normal for just a little bit before you got to Christmas. They were still preparing, they're still getting ready for that day, they're getting ready for the big celebration. But this was kind of a little bit of reprieve in the midst of that season. So it comes down to us in this rose colored candle here for us. One of the wonderful things that you do with this, of course, is you light a different candle for each week. So you can see last year, this little guy was probably the one that we lit for the first week. And it continued every day, every time we had dinner, this one was being lit. And then you can probably say this was probably the second one, obviously the third one, and the fourth one. You can buy new ones, you can reuse them. Sometimes this one becomes the fourth one the year after, all those lovely things. But lots of wonderful things. Here you can see that on this Advent wreath, it has a little Bible verse. The light shines in the darkness or in the night, kind of reminds us of that tradition. All right, now, if this is one of the most iconic pieces that we can find in Christian homes celebrating the season of Advent, there's another one that at least is my kid's favorite, and probably my favorite as well, and that's Advent calendars. You probably have had these. Maybe you have them for your kids. It's kind of hard to see this one
There we go.
because of the color. It's a little washed out. Um, but this is a type. It has 25 days, and each one has a little chocolate. The kids love these, and I'll let you kind of think which child of ours this might be. But sometimes we get to December 25th on December 2nd
That is very true.
because somebody likes
I
chocolate a
suppose
lot.
so. They like celebrating.
So we do have to kind of keep them hidden from the kids and just kind of break them out in the morning or something for a little treat. But it's another way that we and our children can have time to remember. Take a little time out each day. Remember, we're getting closer to something. It's a great time to speak together. Now, this is great for kids. That's also great for adults, let's be honest.
That is
But
true.
chocolate works really well. What else can we possibly use? What else can we possibly do? Good morning, Katie. It's great to see you as well. So what else can we use? Well, Sarah did bring an adult one for us. I guess this could be for kids as well. But this is a English tea shop. So I want to talk a little bit about that one.
First, this one here, sometimes you can find it at Aldi. And we found ours this year from World Market. Really reasonable, just a couple dollars. And then this one is tea, English tea shop. And this will be really fun. So the point of Advent calendars that kind of adds with the festivities and the hope and excitement looking towards and to Christmas and the light that the Lord shines for us in our lives and in our culture, and it really adds with just some really fun family activities.
Sure.
So we have not done a tea one before, so I'm kind of excited about that.
Now, with the Advent calendars, you'll note that they begin with one. So they're kind of keyed to the month of December, maybe a little bit off from, Advent started yesterday. So we'll have to wait a couple of days before we break into these. But again, it's just kind of being able to remember the reason for the season, remember what we're doing be intentional about
Yes,
the
yeah,
season.
and make time. And something that's helpful, a great tool in making time is having these activities. It's a great reminder of, oh yeah, this is what we get to do today, and it will bring great memories for the kids as they look back years from now.
Yep.
So
Now, with that, you can spend as much money as you want on advent calendars. Some cost $1 or $2, some cost a little bit more. You can go up into hundreds of dollars for advent candles. I guess to each their own. You can have a lot of fun. Probably the most famous one that was ever done, Sarah did for me several years ago. Now, she actually went to kind of one of these specialty liquor stores and got a variety pack of different beers, and each one was for a different day. You can do all sorts of fun ones. People love seeing that one. It coincided with some ugly sweaters and some things that we had going on.
well, I asked a dear friend, where would you recommend I find just fun different kinds of beers? And so he gave me a couple great location ideas. And then your birthday's also in December. So this was Advent plus
Kind of all
birthday.
went together.
And that worked out really well. And so all that I did was put each one individually wrapped in a paper lunch bag and then gold ribbon, and then used a round paper punch, and then with chalkboard marker, each had their own number, and then a little hole for the ribbon, tied it on. And so on a shelf in our dining room, we had all the numbers. So we had a very interactive advent calendar slash birthday gift that year.
Right. So there's all sorts of different things you can do for them. I mean, you could do the same thing with sodas. You could do the same thing with. I mean, I've seen some that are jewelry oriented
Oh yeah,
and stuff. They're all over the place.
I think I heard of one like a craft root beer or something, which that would be kind of fun.
That would be fun. I mean, there's all sorts of different things. Whatever you think would help add to the season. Now, talking a little bit about decorations. There's one other
But this is a
calendar that
great
we need to
segue.
talk about.
So this is like advent calendar plus decorations, and so a dear friend gave this to us a few years ago, and it is large, um, but it's really fun. There's a different ornament for every day, and it leads through the season. And it's a little book, and it opens up. And actually, this is so cute. I think this might be great to have its own little tree, like put it on an end table or something. And so I'm gonna have to think about that. But
So each one actually has a bit of Bible story in it, and it's great not just for kids, although you clearly it's oriented towards kids. It's great for Sunday schools, youth groups. It can be great just for you as an individual. It's the story of Christmas and Advent calendar storybook set. So it's just a fun one to be able to use for the kids and also give them something to hang up on the tree each
the
time.
publisher in case someone wants.
It's by Workman Publishing, if you're
Mhm.
looking for that one in particular. So this is a good one. Other decorations that go along with the Advent season. One thing that we do that gets also kind of a little bit into devotional time as well, kind of depends on what it is. And this is really good for younger children. Is we have a series of Christmas books, obviously children's books, and we wrap each one like a present, and then we put in a date on each one, and the kids get to open it and again hear a different favorite story of theirs. So it adds to it. We're not, but well, sometimes we do add books to it through the years,
Yeah.
but generally speaking, you don't have to buy a lot of extra books. So it's a lot of fun to do. One note on decorations and calendars and the like, especially for those of you with college students or kids that might be in the military, deployed, all those type of things. This is a really great time of year to send them a Advent calendar.
Yeah.
To continue those traditions, send them some decorations. I remember one year when we were in college, I can't remember who it was, and we won't mention names anyway. One of our friends actually received like a miniature tree in the mail, and of course some decorations and stuff.
Which is a
Something
great
to kind of
idea.
help them out.
So then that family member feels remembered, and what a wonderful feeling
Right.
to be remembered, even though far apart from family. I remember getting care packages from family when we were in college, and it just felt so awesome.
right? And especially during the beginning part of December, again, with the December birthday, it's always finals time. It seems
Yeah.
like no matter where you go, it's always finals time. It's a great way to remember your student going through that time. Also, for those deployed in the military, it, as some of you very well know, it can be kind of lonely around the holidays, out and about with, yes, you have your comrades in arms there and all these things, but it's just not quite the same. So this is a great time to remember some of those things and include them
And to have that piece of home.
right into those Advent traditions that maybe they're feeling like they're missing, that they're left out of. So, hey, good morning, Joanne. Good morning, Mom. So that goes into some of our devotions. Uh, you can use portals of prayer, those type of things that we have. We have lots of different Advent resources in the back of our congregations here at Trinity and Concordia. There are also some really good ones that you can find online, Jesse Tree oriented ones. Um, Also, what traditionally we do as Lutherans is we usually go through the book of Isaiah. So there's a read a chapter in the morning, a chapter in the evening, and you should get very close to being done with it by Christmas Day.
You can have your kids read it too.
And that's what we actually started doing last night. Is our oldest son? He's the one who started doing some of the readings. We'll have to work a little bit on attention span and all those good things that go with it. This morning, I read from the book of Isaiah, chapter 2, with the kids. And so, yeah, we kind of go back and forth with that. So that's one way to do it. Lots of different things. Again, college students deployed, send a little devotional with them. There's all sorts of ones that you can pick up. Many of them you can pick up for free. And there's things that you can do there. If you are maybe on your own for Christmas, and for a lot of different reasons, this is a great time to maybe consider getting a group of people together for a devotional study. You could bring devotionals to maybe a care facility, maybe a friend who's in need. Don't think that maybe because you have no one around you during Advent that you can't do any of this. Bring other people into the joy of the season and getting ready as we continue to look forward to Christ's second coming. So we do spend a lot of time, and we go out of our way to spend a lot of time together as a family. Now, again, I know not everybody has that available to them during this season, but we'll talk a little bit about how we do this. We already mentioned the books, and we brought some of those here with us. We'll talk about them here in a minute. But we also have built-in special days in the Advent season where we intentionally are doing certain things. We'll talk about those here in a second. But find ways to build this in, incorporate this in. A lot of times, especially when we have children in sports, travel teams, and all these things, we think, well, we don't have time to do these things. You do, and we'll talk about some fun ways that you can incorporate it even on the road. So let's talk about how we as a family spend time together. Many people know that, especially on Fridays in our family, we spend the evening with a movie and with our kids. And a lot of times we're explaining different things in the movies, helping them relate to emotions, the world, those type of things. A lot of times the movies are really old, but this time of year we get into a lot of the Christmas classics. That's just one great way just to kind of be intentional with the season. And it's something you can do even if you're on your own. But as far as the actual month goes on into December, there are some days that we really intentionally celebrate. The first big one is St. Nicholas Day. It's on December 6th. We have books, of course, that go along with that. We're a reading family. So this one is by Fortress Press, I believe. It's The Legend of St. Nicholas. And it really does get into legends, whether some of them are true or not. But it gets into the story of why St. Nicholas, Santa Claus, was a real person and why his story became so famous for Santa Claus on Christmas Day. But notice this is on December 6th. So in our family, we celebrate St. Nicholas.
Stockings are up.
He comes on December 6th, and you'll read in this book the story of the stockings. And as Sarah just said, the stockings are up. So what do we do with the stockings?
Well, an orange, and then gold coins, and I think it was Aldi again where we found gold coins.
Well, she means chocolate gold coins.
Yes, chocolate gold coins.
Pastor didn't get a major raise and was able to throw gold coins into his children's stockings. But we're talking chocolate.
Chocolate gold coins, yes. And so that morning, we take our stockings down, and the kids get to see, ooh, what's in there. And we'll usually throw in a little something extra and fun. And I found some really cute ornaments for them, and so it'll be really fun, like a mini Christmas. And then the tradition is to remind us of the generosity of Saint Nicholas, and that they too can be generous in a variety of different ways.
So yeah, you can incorporate that generosity. Speaking of how you can celebrate this in different family scenarios, your college student, kids that are deployed, family deployed, or away, it can be a really fun idea. Send them their stock, like load it up, get one of those prepaid mailers over at the post office and send it out to them. You can send this with like their advent calendar and everything else, but it's another way to keep them involved. Okay, what if your kids like on travel teams and stuff and you're just always on the road? On December 6th you're on the road again. You can have a lot of fun with this. Bring the stockings and hang them by the vents on the car or something like this, right? Do something fun with it. Keep the tradition alive even while life around you is moving around. Maybe you're on your own. Maybe this is a great day to practice again St. Nicholas's generosity. Maybe you make stockings or a little something for kids in your congregation, your community, your school, something of this nature. Maybe you go spend the time making some drop offs of gifts to those maybe shut in need. I guarantee you, if you ask your pastor right now, hey, pastor, who are some people that are shut in at home, maybe mourning the loss of a loved one, having a blue Christmas and stuff? This is a great way that you can provide something for them and be generous to them as well.
Who can I help, or how can I help?
So the next big tradition, and this is a really big one because of the name here, is St. Lucia Day. We have a Lucia in our family. It's always on December 13th. It is really big in Scandinavian culture, Danish family here, so we've really incorporated these traditions into our life. This one here is Lucia Mourning in Sweden. Again, this would be one of the books the kids would open up on December 13th and we would read and remember. St. Lucia is a martyr, an early Christian martyr. Her name means light. Now, obviously, she's not the light of the world, but it does remind us of Jesus, the light of the world, who she gave a witness to in giving up her life. This gives us some of the traditions that go behind it. And it also has some recipes in it,
It does.
which our kids love. It has music and everything that goes. But the Lucicater buns, these are very famous. They do usually use a very expensive ingredient, saffron. But there are recipes that you can use that don't call for it. We don't use saffron in our Lucia Cotter buns. But these are really awesome to make. They're delicious for coffee and all those things. But they're also a lot of fun to deliver and bring to other people. Last year, I was on some shut-in visits, and Sarah had just made them in preparation for St. Lucia Day. Brought them along for some visits. Just had a good time with people, sharing a treat, sharing part of the season. Um, this is also a lot of fun if you can get kids involved, maybe for a Sunday school lesson or something like that. Maybe you go down to the church kitchen and make them as a group and send them home and have some connection to that. Tell the story, be involved. Because it also, her name means light. This is traditionally the day that we go out, not that we don't do this other times, but we look at all the Christmas lights. Usually everybody has them up at this point.
Yep.
There's some great light shows right here between Sioux Valley and Lake Park. If you're interested, make sure you keep going down the road and see one of our members' response to that, because it's hilarious. Anyway, there's some great lights around. In this area, we have the falls.
Mhm.
That's probably what we'll do this year. Is we like to go to the Falls Park over in Sioux Falls, and they have lights everywhere,
Mhm.
and it's always been fun. The kids enjoy that. It's another way to remember the season. What if you're traveling? The kids are out.
Get some hot chocolate and go look at Christmas lights.
You can find Christmas lights almost anywhere in this country at this time of year. So go experience, go have fun, because a lot of times those travel teams will take you to bigger cities, bigger towns, and maybe they have a free public display after you're done with the game. Drive through.
Yeah,
Some things to think about.
enjoy.
Okay, now we have some other days, some that have been incorporated closer to Christmas. We usually take a day for the Nutcracker, of course, Tchaikovsky's famous ballet, and all these type of things. It's a lot of fun because the kids get a little bit of culture and tradition, but it also helps us. I don't think we brought the book
I
with
think the kids
us.
have some.
The kids, our kids love these books so much they use them throughout the year. So sometimes we have to go search
Mhm.
for them before we wrap them again. This is a really good day to you bake your gingerbread. So we have a gingerbread
Mhm.
Christmas by Jan Brett. This is great for all the way up to 10+ years old.
Jan Brett, she has wonderful, wonderful books. She has, I think it's called a Winter Treasury or Christmas Treasury, and um, well, there's the Gingerbread Christmas, and then there's the 12 Days of Christmas, and Wild Christmas Reindeer, and then this one. Which one is this? Ooh, this is a good one. I think this one is the
Gingerbread baby.
Gingerbread Baby. And it's pretty funny. The kids like this a lot. And it has a really fun surprise at the end. So that's what the cover of this one looks like. Jan Brett, she's really creative and detail oriented. And when you look at her books, there's some really neat details on the sides. And she puts so much thought into all of her pages, all of her books. But so there's the story, what's going on in the middle. And then there's also a story happening in the sidebars. It's like she's telling two stories at once, and oh, just the color combination and the sense of humor and the life, the personality in the animals is pretty neat. I think adults would like it too.
That's usually, by the way, our judge of what a good book is. We read a lot of things out loud, even chapter books. It has to be something not only that the kids love and are really engaged in, but it has to be something that the parents really are involved in. So, if you're looking for more of these traditions, more of these books, check out Sarah McKenzie's Read Aloud Revival. Just type it in Google. There's so many great resources. She is a homeschool mom and she's vetted all these books and they're great. You share that resource with your kids, your grandkids, especially if they have young ones in the home. Another fun way that you can use this book tradition of ours, especially if your family's maybe distant from you, you can look at different versions of this book, maybe check it out from your local library, have them do the same. Do, if you have an iPhone, do like a FaceTime call and read the book out loud to them. You can incorporate, especially with modern technology, lots of cool ways of doing these traditions together. Again, we incorporate a lot of times gingerbread making, gingerbread houses. I'm sure a lot of people do that with this day. It's just kind of a fun day to do things, and then it's a fun day again to bring treats to other people as pastors going out on visits and all those good things. Now, another big day that, of course, coincides with a book is we have Candy Cane Day. Who doesn't like candy, especially in our household? But the candy cane actually has religious origins to it. The shepherd's crook, the red for Jesus' blood, the white for purity, all these different things. You can look up the meaning of candy cane, just do a Google search. But this book goes along with it. And a lot of times we make different candy cane treats. So you'll notice food, books, reading, family, time together really go hand in hand here. Other things for Candy Cane Day, I'll let Sarah kind of talk a little bit more about it. Hot cocoa. Put
They
some.
actually do make spoon shaped candy canes, and that can be your stir for your hot chocolate. And then you have peppermint hot chocolate.
There you go. And of course, You can do this one just for yourself, too,
Right.
right?
You don't have to have kids to do that because that's really fun.
But there's and then how can we incorporate others? Thinking especially again, maybe your kids got like travel team sports or something. A lot of times they have friends they're traveling with. Well, maybe you pick a day, and even if you're on the road, stop by some sort of cafe or place where you can get coffee. A lot of times they have hot cocoa and the like.
Yeah.
They'll probably have drinks there. You can incorporate people into that tradition. We don't have a set day of the week like Nicholas Day and Lucia Day for this. We just kind of work it into our schedule
Right.
when it works.
Mhm.
But it's just another thing that you can do. So, other fun ones. Sarah has one other book here that, well, she has a lot of
Well,
books
I have
here.
a few, but
Um,
Christmas in the Woods,
but
Laura
so,
Ingalls Wilder. So this is the picture book version.
so the Little House series, always fun for the kids. It teaches them um, different view of work, a different work ethic, all those type of things. But you can see that there's also kind of children's versions that have been published that are fun to go through with younger kids. Read chapter books as older kids. Always good, especially when you might be snowed in like we might be tomorrow.
We'll see. This is the, sorry, there we go. This is called the Christmas Tree Ship. It is a little bit of a tearjerker. The kids don't like this one, so we don't really read that one. It's okay to have favorites and non-favorites. This is a great one, Christmas Tapestry. It a story of oh golly, life coming full circle and the Lord's blessings and providence. And this author, Patricia Polacco, there we go. She writes a lot of great things. Another Orange for Frankie. That's a good one too. That's a great Christmas one. Yeah.
So obviously, there's a lot that you can do with all of these traditions. We've talked about you got college kids changing family, changing dynamics, lots of different ways you can still incorporate even some of these traditions and still be connected, especially with modern technology, even at a distance. Um, okay, so maybe you're not that technological savvy. Again, as we mentioned, different ways that you can mail things to people. Remember this season. Continue to keep people connected. Different ways you can bring that together. Lots of different things, but of course, there's another big thing that we haven't talked about that is part of this season. A lot of times, especially the Lutheran Church, many other churches as well, we have extra services. We have Advent services that, especially as your kids are old enough, maybe if it's late at night to attend, these are great times to come together as a family to come to worship. And a lot of times the kids might complain a little bit, even pastors' kids. Oh, do we really have? But it gets them focused not so much just on all the fun. There's definitely a lot of fun here, as we just saw, but it reminds them of where we're going. And then don't forget, of course, we have Christmas Eve, Christmas Day services to be part of a family. One that really falls into disuse, and I understand the reasons why. A lot of us are traveling, we have people coming to us, but especially Christmas Day, we don't usually we don't have that many people in church. But this is really an important service to remember that while there's gifts, while there's fun, while we've been doing a month of entertaining activities, reminding us of Jesus, reminding us of why these traditions exist, why we do these things, especially on Christmas Day. It is so good to be together with our brothers and sisters in Christ and remember why we do all this in the first place. I hear a lot of times people complain that Christ has been removed from the season. It's just materialism and all those things. And I understand that. So put Christ back into the season. Bring your family, drag them along on Christmas morning and all those things. Because this is a really big part of what we're doing. Those college kids come home. Maybe they've been in church, maybe they haven't. Drag them to church on Christmas morning. Ooh, well, we went Christmas Eve. Yeah, well, we're going again Christmas morning. Bring this as part of your family culture, your family tradition. That's really what we want to focus on during this season. All right, anything else?
I don't think so. I think we covered it really well.
So
This is the third time.
yeah,
So
this
we
is the
had
third.
good practice.
You haven't seen all the other times, but we have tried multiple times to get this on, and we get recorded. We get about halfway through. Obviously, we're doing this live right now, and then the internet shuts down on us and it all stops. So this is about the third time we've been through this. So we've been a little practice. Yeah, we went a little long today, but again, special addition to morning devotion. Some things to think about. How can you incorporate some things in your family culture? Maybe you already have some traditions that you can add to this, or maybe that you want to continue or reinvest into. All sorts of things that you can do. Make this time to grow together and continue to be connected to God's Word. Again, when we talk about St. Nicholas Day, St. Lucia Day, all of these things, um, these were Christians. These were people who gave their life as witnesses to Christ. St. Nicholas didn't die a martyr's death, but he was indeed imprisoned for the gospel in very cruel conditions. Um, so these are reasons to remember these heroes, these saints that have gone before, and to connect them properly with what they actually mean, especially St. Nicholas. It's really big. I know we all want to see Santa Claus and those things. Remember, Santa was a real person and he pointed to Jesus. So, all your traditions, focus in on Christ. Hopefully, this gives you some things to think about for your Advent and Christmas season. But that's what we got for you today. So, um, hope everybody has learned something, grabbed something for them to think about, maybe something that you want to start or continue to do. But there you go. There's kind of a special Advent addition to your morning devotions. Um, Hope to see you tomorrow morning. We'll get back on track with the book of Judges, but God's blessings on your day.